Utilities Commission meeting to order. It's 7:35 PM. The first item on the Utilities Commission agenda is to approve the minutes of the May 7th, 2018 Utilities Commission meeting.
I so move to approve the Utilities Commission meeting on May the 7th, 2018.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show we unanimously approve the minutes of the May 7th, 2018 Utilities Commission meeting.
Hello.
The next item on the agenda is total operating funds on hand. In the Utilities Commission, the total cash on hand on June 4th, 2018 is $1,827,961.40. Designated capital funds set aside for capital projects stands at $786,000. The next item under Utilities Commission is the payment of the bills.
I so move to pay the bills.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show we unanimously agree to pay the bills. Just getting stuff done.
Yes, sir.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The
We'll get you some
Utilities
theme-
Commission report
Give
from
us some
Mr.
theme
Bob
music next
Sykes.
time.
Evening, Mayor, Council members.
What color is that?
Fuchsia.
That is fuchsia? Is that,
This is officially fuchsia.
would you guys agree that that's fuchsia?
That's absolutely.
Whatever color it is, I
Red.
like it. My daughter
What color is
called
that?
pink.
Is that fuchsia? Or is that
Salmon.
peach? Salmon.
Salmon.
All right, I'll
I
go
think
with
that's Singapore sunset
Oh,
saffron.
okay.
Wow, all right.
The name is in the label.
Remember that from Love Boat?
Before
All
my
right,
time.
go ahead, Bob.
There's a big ticket item on here. We had to get 4 new tires for our backhoe. They were worn past the tread. So instead of just getting 2 replaced, I went ahead and got all 4 because the other 2 were dry. Typically, the front wears faster than the back. The back was also worn out, but it was also dry rotted. So we got 4 new ones. I also picked up a new locator for finding the water and sewer lines around town. It's an upgraded version. It doesn't just kind of give you beep, beep, beeps. It will actually show you a picture of the buried line when you come across it. And we had the bid opening for the mapping, and I'm still in the process of reviewing those. We have 3 bids that came in under $50,000 with the software and the mapping. And they may be doable over a 3-year period. I had one of them come in at $33,000 for the mapping. That didn't include the software. The software prices are standard for everybody. It's $7,000 for the perpetual license, and then $3,000 for the term license, which is an every year update. But for instance, on one of the lower bids, if we were to break it down over 3 years, it would cost us $13,400 on average per year.
So the advantage of having the software is that once this company did the mapping, that we could then make edits to
Yes.
their plan as water lines are installed or removed or.
Yes, yes, or like in the case of the wastewater mapping that we already have, we have found a couple that were wrong. And we can go in and edit those and make sure they match what's in the field. One of the issues and one of the reasons it's taken so long to go through these to evaluate them is not all of the companies bid it the way we asked them to. What we were asking for is a standalone ArcView mapping system on a local computer without access to the internet or not even being attached to the internet. But a lot of these companies bid it by putting it on the internet anyway, because that seems to be the standard nowadays. I don't care much for that standard. It's a security issue. We don't need everybody to know where everything is at as far as the water system goes. So I'm I'm still contacting them, and hopefully with one of the three, we'll be able to work out a deal that gives us exactly what we asked for in the RFP, and get it underway sooner rather than later. But one of the questions for you, of course, is do you want to do it over 3 years, or do we want to just go ahead and make the outlay of between 40 and 47,000 to get it all done? It doesn't look like it's going to take a year. It looks like it's actually going to be about a 6-month process. But after that 6 months, we have something in hand that is going to be.
Would that
valuable
come out of
for us
one of
for a
these
long
two funds?
time. It could. I had put for 2 new vehicles in for the capital funds, and we have ordered those vehicles, but they haven't come in. So what I was thinking is we could use the money that is currently in the budget for capital funds to pay for the mapping. And then in the new budget year, cover the 2 trucks.
Well, wouldn't this be considered, this would be considered a
I
capital?
would certainly consider it a capital item. I mean,
It's not delivering water and storage or taking it away, it's actually doing something new or building something different.
it's a durable property, something that's going to benefit the town for many, many years to come
Yeah,
that we do not have now.
My feeling is, if it's only gonna take someone 6 months, we should just do it, because I hope you live to be 150, but, you know, you might walk across that street tomorrow and something might happen to you, and it's all in somebody's head right now. And I don't like that. I want everyone to be able to look at a diagram and see
I agree.
where the
This has
line,
been a long
and the
time
faster, the better. It's 21st century, like, it's not cool to go out with a divining rod and try to find where all the water mains are when a new building, every
In
time.
addition to Bob's longevity, which we all hope for here,
Nothing, you know, he's gonna be,
of course,
Oh,
and coming back with these fuchsia shirts, but in addition to that, I believe we're expanding the internet system, and there's gonna be a lot of more digging under the roads.
Yes,
And it will be
correct.
critical during the next year, really, that we be able to have as much understanding as to where.
that's a good point.
Bob, would it have helped us to avoid the rupture of the line?
No, it wouldn't.
Would not have?
No, because the person doing the work ignored our
Okay,
instructions.
okay,
What he was supposed to do when he went under Cannon Street was he was supposed to be 8 feet deep, not 42 inches deep.
okay, okay.
So on what he did, that was something where he was at fault.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he was at fault,
Okay,
and he can try to blame it on whatever he wants. But the fact is, he was only 40, we measured it, where his conduit was at. We know exactly how deep he was, and he was warned
okay.
about these intersections, that he was supposed to be under all of our water and sewer. And that's gonna be a long-term issue, because this isn't the only place he did it. I have laterals throughout town that are right around 36 inches, and these guys went, in some cases, over the top of them, and some just under them. But when we have to dig those up and we hit a fiber optic line, because it was put shallower than the company agreed to, they're gonna try to charge us for those fiber optic lines if we hit them. So that's gonna be an issue.
I kind of agree with the mayor that let's get it done. Not citing any names, but I admire the fact that you want to have this done. We had a director at one time that told me personally, I only tell them what they need to know and not too much because it's job security. And
The thing about water and wastewater is that the job security mentality that was very prevalent over the last 100 years is faulty at its base. Because when you need to find a water line because it's been hit, it makes itself very evident. I mean, the water will spring up. But one of the reasons I'd like to get this done all at one shot is consistency of the work, the continuity of being able to start and finish. and actually set a goal that's measurable. Because if you break it down every 3 years, they're gonna work for a month or two, and you don't even know if you're gonna get the same
Yeah,
team back.
agreed.
And he's gonna be scratching his head. It's like, hey, what was this guy doing last year? So yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons to get this done and out of the way.
So I think the next step would be for you to make a recommendation of who the apparent low bidder is and why you'd want to pick them, and then we would vote on how to proceed from there.
And there's the rub, because I don't have one yet. We know who the low bidder was, but I don't know that he meets all the requirements of the
No, I'm just
RFP.
saying, I'm not saying you should tell us right now, but when you've made that
I'll send out
call,
an email.
you could send out an email, or we could do it at our next meeting when you have,
Well, we told him we would award it before July the 1st.
well, then I think email is probably going to.
Okay? I'm certain it's gonna be one of the 3 low bids. We even had a local company come in much lower than I had anticipated. Or if they had put in a bid and that came in.
Well, if I'm reading this right, and capital funds are $786,000. Is that right? And you're asking us for less than 50,000.
50,000.
I don't see where that's a problem, because
Bob, one other just minor question. I'm presuming in addition to their doing this survey, they will also train you and your staff in terms of how to do that and how to continue it?
What I included in the RFP is staff training. One of the questions that came up that I was emailed is, hey, does the staff train, can it be over the computer? So, if my company is in North Carolina, can your guys log in and we'll do it? And I don't want that. It has to be
Hands-on.
on-site training, hands-on, with the mapping system that they developed for us. So that they're not working on something that's generic. They actually have the finished product in front of them. And when it's time to do the training, that's what they're going to be trained on the product that is delivered to us.
All right, so moving forward, I think, why don't you continue to evaluate the bids, come up with your recommendation, email it to us,
Okay?
and we'll take it from there.
And I'll get that, it'll be this week.
That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
That's exciting.
And we also had some responses to the water tower RFP for the maintenance of the water towers. But so far, only one company has actually come to see and evaluate the condition of the water towers.
Okay. Anything else?
And that's all I have.
Any other questions for Mr. Sipes? So the next item under Utilities Commission,
This was introduced at the last meeting by Bill. This gives as of July 1st, so it won't be the next billing cycle, but the one after that, for a small increase in water and sewer fees only. It doesn't increase any other fees such as hookup fees or anything like that. I think that the fees are going from, do you mind if I take one of these real quick, just that I have it? Fees right now are, I think $32, I think, a quarter for water, for sewer, and now they're gonna be $35 for an even $70 for up to 10,000 gallons of water. And we have not raised water and sewer since 2014. So it is time, and we are still one of the lowest rates in the state of Maryland.
I think we are.
For
the
water and sewer.
lowest.
We are the
I would
lowest.
like anyone to show me any municipality that comes within 25% of us.
Yeah.
That's how low we are.
We're-
But that's total cost. So if you go to, for instance, to Johnstown, on the lower shore, they will post a water and sewer rate that is lower, but what they don't tell you is 10% of the taxes that are collected also go to water and sewer. So the $70 that we collect completely funds us.
I have no problem with it, because simply, money you pay for water and storage goes to water and storage. When you're paying taxes, there's a lot of discretionary. People give this for this and this for that, but what we're buying with our $70 is good water and good storage. And there's nobody, and I've said this at another meeting before, there's nobody that watches a penny, maybe except me, than Bob Sipes. It's obvious he's very conscientious of the amount of money he spends, so.
So do I need to read this?
We need, you can, it was introduced last week, what we really need is a motion to adopt it.
All right, does anybody want to make a motion to adopt
I'll make the
ordinance
motion to adopt it.
03-2018?
I do have one other question for Bob, Ken. Bob, as you're sitting here, you know that we're going to be embarking on a program for paving roads and improving them. And one of the questions I've been asked is that when we repave those roads, can we be certain we're not going to have to dig them up again to repair water and sewer? Now, I know there's no guarantee with this, but as the town decides on the priority for roads, are there things you can do to be able to assess the likelihood of having to do maintenance on those newly paved?
One of the issues is, we do have hot spots in town that seem to develop as far as water and sewer failures on the laterals that come from the house. But there's no way to anticipate those accurately because they move around quite a bit. So in one year, our hot spot is Richard Drive. That's
Okay, I've
actually
seen that
been
one,
true for
yes.
about 5 years.
Okay.
But then, once in a while, it's Cannon Street. All of a sudden, we're doing a lot of digging on Cannon Street. And then that'll stop. And then we're digging up on Queen Street. And then all of a sudden, that'll stop. And a lot of that has to do with the geology, the weather, and things that we can't account for. So it would be nice if we could anticipate where the next hot spot was going to be, but there's really not. And like if we were going to pave a street, when you talk about replacing all the utilities under the street, then you're talking about
Megawatts.
almost as much of an expense as doing the road work. So if we were, for instance, going to pave a certain section of Cannon Street, to dig that up, what you would have is what's going on in Centerville right now, where they have that entire one direction closed down for 6 months or so while all the utility work is done. While it's a pain, well, the way we do it now is less of a pain than that. Because if we have to dig up and replace a utility, that is, as far as I know, always done the same day. So it's a one-day inconvenience. Depending on the condition of the road, it can exacerbate that. So if the road is already in poor condition and it has cracks and it's already starting to wear out, yeah, when we have to bust that and the water is able to get down in the seams, it's going to make it worse.
Yeah.
But I don't know a solution to that.
All right, so is there a motion to adopt ordinance 03-2018?
They did.
I have the
Already-
motion. I
already
need
been
a
made.
Second.
I second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, we just adopted ordinance 03-2018 unanimously.
I have 3 copies, if everybody could.
Are there any other questions or comments for Bob Sipes?
Well, I want to remind people that $15 of this is the flush fee and is paid to the state of Maryland quarterly, and we don't get any of it back.
You just get the pleasure of collecting it.
Yes, we don't even get, you know, to keep
I will say,
percentage of it.
we don't get much of it back. We do get back $30,000 a year in bay restoration money that helps us offset the cost of the chemicals for the wastewater treatment plant. That is, as long as we are meeting our ENR numbers, we're getting our average total nitrogen to 4 or less, our seasonal nitrogen to 3 or less, and our total phosphorus to 0.3 or less, we get that money.
But we pay over $50,000 a quarter to the state.
Yes. I don't mean to imply we're not getting,
I understand.
we get some of it back.
But that's everyone in the state too. That's not just us. That's the
I know,
entire
it's a lot of
state.
money.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, we're going to adjourn the Utilities Commission meeting. Thank you very much. I'm expecting a big fashion statement next month. I don't know if it can get bigger, but it's.
Night, Bob.
All right, we're gonna wait for Bill to return and we'll
No commercial
get the
break.
meeting going.
We'll get Bob some theme music.
Man, he did need some music tonight.
Child,
He is styling profiling.
that'll be the song.
Okay, we're gonna call the regular mayor and council meeting to order. It's 7:55 PM. Our first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the mayor and council meeting of May 21st, 2018. Is there a motion to,
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
all those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?
Well, I'm not happy with them, but I'll vote for it.
All right, so you're reluctant, yes? So we kind of unanimously have passed the minutes.
That's right.
I need the operating funds on the.
Oh, they're right here.
Sheet,
I
I think.
I just handed them. Nope, here you go, sorry. Got a lot of
Okay,
papers.
so operating funds on hand for the town of Chestertown. Total operating cash on hand for unrestricted use right now is at $639,597.50. We also have grant reimbursement requests totaling $64,175 for marina operations, work we've done at the marina, so assuming we get those paid back, that would bring the total to $703,772.50. The next item under the mayor and council meeting is the payment of the bills. So we'd
Move
like
to
to
pay the
make,
bills as submitted for 5/19 through 5/31.
Second.
all those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Let the record show we unanimously agreed to pay the bills. That brings us to Airlie Johnson and Legacy Day.
Hello, Airlie couldn't be here tonight, so.
I was gonna say.
I'm Linda Reed.
Amen.
representing
Airlie looks different
Legacy
tonight.
Day. I think, Bill, you have our permit.
I think the mayor actually, I never,
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the
I
mayor and
don't have
council
a copy
file.
of it, So, if there's any questions, I guess that's what I'm here for.
Can you just tell us a little bit about the event, like date, hours? I know,
Okay,
I do have
Legacy Day
the,
This year, August 18th, usually that's when we have it. We start 5 o'clock with a parade from Dixon Bath and High Street. But we're asking this year to close the streets around 1 o'clock or so vendors can set up, because they've been complaining they haven't had enough time. We start having people come between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. And, last year, we had, I think, about 1,500, they thought, so we
That's great.
expect a good crowd this year. We certainly did publicizing. And this year, we're honoring, or we're going to do is, last year, we did the African-American educators during segregation. This year, we're doing it during integration from, I think, 1967, 68 to 72. So we're interviewing African-American students and white students who went through that, those years in school to see how it affected everybody. So that's what we have.
all right, so here on the permit, it just says Saturday, August 18th. The celebration is from 4 to 10:30. In preparation for the band, DJ, and vendor to set up and the early arrival of community members, we request the street to be closed at 1 PM to 10:30 PM. And so which portion of the street, just so-
Okay, High Street, the
Yeah.
300 block of High Street, and then Park Row, that's where we usually put the cars.
Okay.
And then we use the parking lot by Early New Shop. Some vendors set up in there, so it would be those areas. And then I know Early also meets, with the police and stuff about a week or two ahead of the event. To go over all the plans as far as the parade and what needs to be done and things like that.
It's much more detailed on the
Yeah,
other
if you go back,
side.
we have it pretty much down pat, except
I
for the
think so.
changes. And Chief's here, so the change is fine with you?
Yes, sir, I agree, we're kind of on autopilot, so, but I would appreciate if she still continues to stop by.
Yes, and she will do that.
Because we do catch something every once in a while.
Just to-
No- no-
Same way with the street crew, we always, we try to get this all down on a long form that none of us actually remember, but it gives us some
Right. And the only other thing that we've asked for maybe this year is additional trash cans, because we do have a lot of trash. We have Infinity Recycling that comes in at the end of the evening, but we have just an overload, so.
Do you know,
Trash cans
do you
out.
know how many, do we know how many trash cans it used to be and how many you want?
Well, I know we just use what's in the park, so if we could just
All right.
add.
Oh, so you want some delivered?
All right.
Yes.
So additional ones
Yeah.
then?
Yep, I'll make sure it happens.
And I don't know, in my head, since I do cleanup, I would think that 5 to 10 would be really
Barrels.
nice, because,
Yeah, barrels.
because they
Okay.
really do fill up quickly, so.
So, Bill, do we need a motion to approve this permit?
Sure.
Would someone like to make a motion to approve this permit?
I make a motion to approve the Legacy Day permit for 2018. This will be the 5th year.
It
Is
will
that
be the
correct?
5th year, and I also have rat cards, so I'm gonna.
Nice.
getting
Wow, that's like really
groovy.
official.
We are really just, yes.
And I second that motion.
Done a lot
Okay.
of that, so I'll hand those out.
There's a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Could the record show that we unanimously approve this permit
Did you
for
sell all the
Legacy Day?
t-shirts?
Well, we just started another one online. We had done a campaign, and then we had to stop, and now another one started.
Okay.
So you can go online through
Just some
Summer
of
Hall,
that stuff. Mhm.
and it'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay? All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Okay, that brings us to item number 5, which is the town manager's report.
Okay, I think I'll do the easy one first. Can I have that? The application for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor for Chester River Wine and Cheese Company. This is something that's being handled by the county commissioners, and our policy in the past has been to say yay or nay, or not say anything at all, and I think for the last few years, we've let the county do their business as the liquor license granters. But this is for Class B beer and wine on and off sales. And I think I don't know a lot about these things, but I think when the marina's done, it's very handy to have that walkable space for people who want to get a bottle, want to go back to their sailboat or whatever if they're visiting. They're wonderful people that run that, and I don't know why we would have to say one thing one way or the other, except for maybe support. So you don't have to register support, and you don't have to oppose it. But I think a long time ago, we had some times where we thought when a council person thought maybe there were too many sales of liquor in his or
The last one we opposed didn't make any difference because they granted it anyway,
Yeah.
so.
But I want you all to be aware of it, because I think in this case, it's a really good idea. Okay? And so the other thing I have on my report is it's now time to adopt the budget. You had your public hearing, you had your 3 preliminary meetings, and I know how some of you feel about it, but now's the time to vote and sign off or not on this. So, Mayor, I guess that's...
So I think we'll have a roll call vote.
I was going to call for a
And I'm
roll
looking
call
at you.
vote, but I think we ought to have a little discussion before. I do have a few remarks.
Well, you would after a motion.
I'll move that we, no, I'm not going to move, you move.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Almost had him make it.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the proposed budget for 2019, or 2018, 2019, or is it 2019, 2020?
It's FY 2019.
FY 2019. I'll make the motion to adopt that budget.
I second that.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote.
No, we have discussion.
Oh, discussion, all right.
Discussion, and I would like to
You would like to
discuss
start
my
the
vote.
discussion?
Yes.
Needless to say, I'm not going to vote for it. I want to cite the reasons. I have 60 years of experience in government. If you count my 4 years in the military as the federal government, I have state police time with the state government. I retired from that. I worked for the county, and I've been the chief of police at Chestertown, and I've been on this town council. And all that experience leads me to believe if government has money, they spend it. If they don't, they don't. We went through all those budget meetings and we made some cuts. Some of them I've been advocating for years. I was glad to see some of the council people finally agree with me that the 4th of July, when there was 15,000, I got beat back fiercely because I wanted to cut out the fireworks. Because there's no business getting any money out of that. That was unnecessary. There was a lot of nonprofits that came in. The point I'm making is if somebody wanted this extra cushion and so forth, soon as the government gets it, and soon as they find out we got a little extra money, there's gonna be a line right there of all those people we cut with their hand back out wanting the money back. You cut me now you have the money, give it to me. I proposed a 2-cent increase rather than the 5-cent, and it balanced the budget. That made sense to me. And things are gonna get better. The marinas cost us around $50,000 a year since in the 6 years. I said, that's $250,000. We could have done a lot of road paving, but once we bought the marina, nobody wants it to succeed more than I do, but I see next year where it may maybe not make money, but if it would just start breaking even, we're going to have the money. So my point is 2 cents would have covered it. I think 5 cents is a lazy man's way of saying, well, we'll have them in here and we'll give them something and they'll be happy. And I don't agree with it. So needless to say, I'm not going to vote for the budget because I think 2 cents would have done it. And that's my discussion.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I've had phone calls, I've talked to people, had one person tell me they were going to put their house up for sale and move. One person tell me that they're calling it the marina tax. Both of those people, though, one has a business and one is getting ready to open an Airbnb, which I had informed that person that they said they were willing to pay the tax, for the Airbnb, the hotel tax. So that's the county's decision, and they'll hopefully be getting a letter from the county. If you look at our last Tea Party Festival and the number of police officers who covered the festival, we have Legacy Day that'll be coming up in August. We have downrigging. We have Harry Potter Festival. And the first place that people turn to is our police department for help, for closing roads. And I don't think there's any event in Chestertown that doesn't require our police department, whether it's overtime or not. I've ridden with the police. Our police department covers the county, and it covers Queen Anne's County if they're called in to cover that. And this is in response to comments that I think our police department is too large. This is the county seat, and you expect full coverage from our police department. The first time something happens and it's not covered by correctly or quickly enough, these are the people who condemn our police department. Then we have the roads. They're not quite as bad as Baltimore City with potholes, but they're getting there. And everybody complains about the roads. When are we going to get the roads fixed? It just goes on and on. I truly hope and believe that once the marina is up and running again, that anybody who has an Airbnb should, if they don't, they're missing the boat, so to speak, on advertising that we are a historic town. We are accessible by road and water, and we have the marina. Any business that advertises, it's on the town website that, we're on the Chester River. I know it's an increase for me and everybody, and my taxes have gone up probably more than anybody else's, because when I bought my house, I was out of the town limits and then annexed into the town limits and had to pay to put in water and sewer. And now my property taxes are probably 5 times more than they were when I bought the house. So that, I don't think anybody else who has lived in town can say that. But anyway, I have to vote for the tax increase. There's no way that we can get by without without the tax increase. I have told everybody that I have talked to, if I run for reelection, if I'm on the council and we get a surplus, I will do my best to see that the property taxes can be decreased again, like they were only decreased a penny, but pick up, anybody's welcome to pick up this budget, and we have cut. And I also asked that, Bill has asked for $150,000 for the roads. I would like the rest of that money to go into capital, and I would like it to be voted on if any of the rest of that money is spent for any reason. I would like it to go into capital funds so that the mayor and council will have to vote on how it's spent.
I think Marty,
Are you amending the ordinance, or are you going to accept the ordinance, or what are you going to do?
I'm just asking that the $150,000 go into
As a
roads.
policy.
Yeah, we can do it as a policy, and the rest of it.
But
So-
not at this time.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on it.
We'll count for it separately, as we have before with the college funds. And
Right, we have the college fund separate.
All right, is there any other discussion?
Thank you.
David? Thanks, Linda.
I thought Marty and Linda made some very valuable points. Marty's point about, hey, you increase the budget and people come in asking for it. I think it's all the more reason that we earmark these increases that are intended for roads or for the things that they really are set into the budget, and I think that's been done. But, question to Linda. Part of that was going for a COLA, a cost of living increase for salaries. Are you saying that we would re-vote on that?
Did we need this, did we need the tax increase for that?
Yes?
Yes.
We did.
Well, the most disappointing part of the whole budget was that our employees, who are, I'll stack them up against any government agency. They work very hard and they provide us a lot of services, and we weren't able to give them anything this year, and that hurts because we don't want to lose them. I've said before, government is for public safety and public health. When you get beyond that, it's not what government's supposed to do, and they don't do a very good job of doing things other than that. So you have to have government for public safety. I mean, you can't have people running around with AR-15s taking care of their own place. So.
If we take the 100,000 and subtract from that the COLA increase, because I would really
The
like.
COLA is in there. COLA's in the.
It's not in the 150.
No, they're
no.
separate. You
Separate.
guys, that was the first priority for the capital fund for the road project.
So can we account for that?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's fine.
Would you like to say anything, David?
No, I think that's fine.
I'm thinking that, I am going to vote for the ordinance, but I'm thinking that we may want to save our discussion of how we're going to use this proposed money for a later time, in order that the taxpayers can have an opportunity to digest the fact that this tax increase is coming along. Because I'm sitting here listening already. We're trying to decide how we're going to spend this money that we haven't even collected yet.
No.
My point
We don't have a
exactly.
cushion.
My point exactly.
What are we talking about?
It's in there.
It's
all in there.
Ellsworth, it's
in the
after our
budget.
last meeting, we put it where he asked it to be put.
Right.
And that's, so there is, I think it's right here on the first page.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I would prefer that we would just curtail our discussion of that
I
part
want
of
my
it.
request in the minutes.
That's done.
Okay.
That's a policy, and when you're setting aside capital funds for projects, that's the way we'll do it.
All right.
All right?
I do have one other comment I would like, and this would be, hopefully goes without saying, but us in the minutes, that next year we revisit this, and if our property values go up, if our revenues go up, that of course we look at the possibility of reducing that rate as well.
I'll say, for me, it just comes down
Backward
to,
ways of doing something.
it just comes down to flat revenues and expenses that have been ticking up every year that I've been here, and really for the last 10 to 15 years. And at some point, if our assessable base is flat as a pancake, you got to generate revenue. I think the enterprise zone will eventually generate tremendous revenue, but again, we won't see the benefits for 6 to 7 years. I do want to make a comment about the marina. A lot of people perceive the marina as like a Chris Serino initiative. I just want to remind people, like, that happened 2 years before I took office. One of the reasons I'm working my ass off to fix it up is because as long as it's not fixed up, it is a drag on our economy.
Oh, I agree
Once
with
it's
you.
fixed up,
I said the same.
hopefully, like you said, it at least breaks even. If we get a little bit more than that, great. But until it's repaired, it's been a drain. There's no doubt about it. So, people can call it the marina tax or whatever they want to call it. I am optimistic that once it's fixed up, once word gets out that we have a nice facility again, it'll start paying for itself, and 20 years down the road, people will look back and go, that was a good investment for Chestertown. It's definitely caused some short-term pain, but it's not the only thing that's bumped our expenses up. Buying a new police station's added 40 grand a year to the budget. Every time we give all of our officers a step, that's an additional cost. It costs more to pave roads. It costs more to buy gas. I mean, I could go down the list and everything's gone up by 3 to 5% while our revenues have remained flat. So, it's easy to point at that one thing because it's super visible and there's cranes all over the place and it looks like hell right now. But that's not why this happened. It's one of many factors that have factored into it. But the biggest one is flat revenues.
Well, not only that, the whole town is walkable. So if you come into the marina by boat, you can
Yeah.
walk all over town. It's the bulk of our downtown. And I hope every business is looking forward to increasing their business from whatever comes to the marina.
If you play bocce like we do, and you look upriver or downriver, how can you not be excited about what's happening with the College Boathouse, future of the Armory,
Yeah.
the waterfront, and the walkway, and the marina? It's something that had to be done, and it wasn't going to get done by the private sector.
All right, I think we've had enough discussion, so why don't we take a roll call vote starting at your end?
No.
Marty?
Naked, no, I'm not voting for the,
Marty is no.
Yes. Yay.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like by a 4-to-1 vote, we have adopted ordinance 02-2018, budget 2018-19.
And you've also exhausted my report.
All right, so you're done?
Yep.
Mayor's report, I'll keep it really short. I'll just say, again, like, this is kind of an exciting time at the waterfront, so make sure you go down there once or twice a week. And I think you'll be, now that we have a really diligent contractor on the scene, like, it is noticeably different there every single week. They're almost done putting the pilings in front of the fish whistle, which is something that's been needed for about 30 years. They're running out one of the new floating docks. It's gone out probably about 75 feet. And it's really neat to see a nice new dock where for so many years it's been the opposite. So it's getting exciting. I understand it's still painful. Trust me, I lose a lot of sleep over that project every week, but hopefully within a year, we will see and feel the benefits from that project. So that's it for my report. Why don't we do ward reports starting at this end of the table with you, Mr. Foster?
A very unscientific poll after we did and the notices were in the SPY and in the paper about potential tax increase, and I was anticipating an awful lot of complaints. I'll admit, I didn't encounter anybody who was happy with the tax increase. But when we had an opportunity to talk through the reasons for it, neither did I have any serious objections to it. I don't want to gloss over that, but there was understanding with the people I had the opportunity to talk to, and was pleased with that. On a happier note, yesterday saw my first osprey chick on the Chester River for this season. Blessed
That's
it
cool.
be.
I just have to make a comment about the ospreys. They are the best builders of any bird that I've ever known.
Mine could learn a little bit more, but
There's an osprey nest on Route 50 that has been there. I've been going back and forth to the Western Shore for 7 years. And that nest has been through hurricanes, snowstorms, and everything. Anyway, I guess we've all survived the Tea Party Festival, which was, we're going to have our wrap-up meeting on June 13th this year. I don't even know how to estimate. I'm so busy during the festival, people ask me how many people do you think came, and I don't estimate. You know, you really can't, but it would be nice to know. And I just want to thank the businesses, the downtown businesses, for cranking up their air conditioning so people could go in and cool off, and it was a good draw to come into the businesses, and also letting them use the restrooms and just different things like that, opening their doors for the food, because we were down 2 food vendors this year, and there were a couple of people that were overcome by the heat, and thank you to the Bordley Center, who had the Luminaire video going all day long, and you could go in there and cool off a little bit. Last month, first Friday for May, we cut the ribbon for 4 new businesses downtown. Friday night, first Friday for June, we cut the ribbon for 3 more businesses downtown. I please beg people, shop at home, and please visit these businesses and go in and do your shopping here. Really, that's 7 new businesses in 2 months. And these are on Cannon Street and High Street. The Pink House on Cannon that I use for a marker for the parking lot and on my maps for the Tea Party Festival is where the listening room is, and that's one of the new businesses. And I was blown away by the sound equipment that he has in that building. Anyway, where was I going here? This first Friday, there were a lot of people downtown. We had the Dover English Country Dancers down at Fountain Park. I also want to get Main Street to come in to maybe our next meeting, because they've gotten a facade grant, and Jeff told me today that he got some of the facade grant money. I heard it on WCTR this morning that there have been, I think it was 3 grants awarded, and there is some money left, but I would really like to know exactly, you know, what's come in and who's getting the grants, and that goes back to the Pink House. Signage, when we cut the ribbon, he was talking about signage, and I told him, I said, I use the Pink House as the indicator for the town parking lot. He said he sees people come down Cross Street and they don't come down Cannon. And this has been an issue ever since we've had businesses on Cannon. And first Friday, everybody congregates on High Street and Cross, but they don't come down Cannon. So I was told by one of the people on Main Street that they are applying for signage grant money for Main Street, and hopefully that will that'll help that situation. But we also have to, you know, there were sandwich signs, remember, on the corners?
We don't own them, though. I thought they were the DCA.
Were they DCA?
Depends on how active the DCA, they had about a dozen of them.
Okay, I'll get with Jen. Jen Baker is the new
Yeah.
president of the DCA.
She might not even know they are.
Yeah, let's see if we can resurrect those. Anyway, National Music Festival's coming. That's next on our list.
You mentioned Jeff, he was power washing his sidewalk tonight, when I came into town. That's something you don't see a lot of merchants doing, and I really appreciate what you were
Very
doing
well.
there. Every once in a while, it takes a little bit of the moss off and looks a lot nicer.
I want to thank you, Linda, and everyone on the Tea Party Festival, because that was a great weekend. The turnout was huge. I don't know the number, but I would say 10,000 wouldn't be
Yeah, that's
overstating
what-
it too
that's what we
much. I
were kind
mean,
of
there were cars way up by
expecting.
my house on Campus Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like the quality of the signage and the quality of the Colonial Village and like the Clydesdales, you guys have done a great job. I don't think people have any idea how logistically intensive putting on an event of that magnitude is and how much time and work goes into that. So God bless all of you. Thank you so much.
It took me 2 days to recover.
I hope
this
Sabine
stuff.
is still, so and
Yeah,
healthy,
she's
so
sending out emails, but.
I bet. All right.
All right, Third Ward, as always, is a hotbed of activity. I've invited the potential Congressman, Jesse Colvin, is coming to visit this Thursday uptown at Bethel Church to listen to some of the concerns that we have that are specially related to the Third Ward. That's my thing. We're gonna go visiting some of the businesses up on that end of the street, have lunch over at Jermaine's, and then sit down and talk and get to know each other up that way. And as you mentioned, the music festival is coming to town. This will be the first year that they're going to have one of their concerts up in the Third Ward at Bethel Church. I believe that they started tonight there with one of the adult orchestras is performing as we speak uptown. And Marty's going to get me for this one. But I attended the broadband presentation, and I was late getting there. And
I was gonna mention you were there, and I wasn't gonna say a
No, it's
darn
okay.
thing about you
I'm
being
gonna
late.
put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. I was late getting there, but I did get a chance to shake some hands and meet some people and talk to a couple of the private vendors who are responsible for hopefully getting some response for the neighborhoods of Coventry, Washington Park, and Hilltop, so they can be covered by this initiative.
You talking about the fiber?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Pickham doesn't seem to be too excited about it coming out that way, but we're doing what we can to make sure we don't get left out of the loop on that. But I was there.
Linda was there too.
I didn't see Linda.
She was on
So I was
time.
late, Linda, so I was-
As I was. At the finals place, they talked great about how one of the greatest events that the county has ever sponsored. They didn't fail to mention the fact it was probably the most expensive thing they ever sponsored too. So I hope it does, and I really do hope that it ends up paying for itself. I know as far as the Board of Education and so forth, it'll be a big boon to them because kids out in the outside will be able to access the internet.
Yes.
And I really wasn't, I just, the only thing I said to Dave was, it's hell when you run on standard time and the rest of us are on Eastern
Yeah, I was
Daylight.
late.
But,
Come on, it was the first person I ran into when I get up there.
on Sunday, June the 3rd, I got in town
Excuse
just in time to go down to the boathouse. They were celebrating their 50 years of rowing from Washington College. And they had a lot of the old coaches and I got a tour of the partially finished, they say halfway finished, it looks like it is a little bit more than half, of the boathouse. If you get a chance to look at that, you think it's big from the outside, you should go in the inside. It's like going in a church. They got a
Wow.
steeple ceiling, and it's really, really going to be a fabulous place for the, and I've always felt, I actually came to Chestertown before Washington College had crew. Because I can remember people stopping on Quaker Neck Road when they'd see a shell out there because they hadn't seen them. And it really has made this college a place for people who go to schools, high schools and so forth, that have crew. They want to come here because they've done so well. And it really is a draw, and I think it's going to be great. And the building itself, if it ends up finished up looking as good as it does right now, it'll be a real asset to the waterfront. And That's all I have to say about that. It was cold. I can't imagine June the 3rd. I was sitting there with lunch, and I sat across the lady. When I got the invitation to this thing, I was looking for a nice sunny day, maybe even too warm to sit here. Everybody had their hoods up and they were freezing to death, and June 3rd.
Yeah, it's been a crazy spring. Okay, there were no requests to be on the agenda. Are there any questions or comments from the audience this evening?
I'll move to close the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We unanimously adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.